Okay, good evening. This is the East Lyme Board of Selectmen regular meeting. We're at the East Lyme Town Hall, upper meeting room. It's about 7:02. The three of us here live, and Candace Carlson is participating through the phone. So we will have four, so we have a quorum. So those that can, arise and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, so are there any additional agenda or consent calendar items tonight? I am not aware of any. Anyone else?
Nope.
Candace?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Good. Okay. All right. Are there any public delegations? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 6, 2026?
Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 6, 2026 as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any changes or modifications, corrections to the minutes of the May 6, 2026 meeting?
Dan, can I just ask a question? There was a statement made by Jason. Was that admitted into the meeting minutes?
Oh, the statement that you read, let's look and see.
Yeah, he read it aloud, but that should go into the meeting minutes. I didn't see it, so that's why I'm saying
Okay,
something.
good question.
It just says Mr. Diebel delivered a detailed statement recognizing Mr. Tukey's honorable service during a period of heightened scrutiny. It is not the full
Yes, I did
text.
read that. I read that there was something scripted from Sandy. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for the entire statement that he read in and read out loud.
Do you have that written?
I have it on a hard drive at home. I can,
Could you print?
send
So,
it to Sandy.
so what we'll do is we will correct the record by Mr. Diebel will present the printed copy of that statement, and then I'll have Sandy attach it to the record.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for
Good.
that.
Yes, thank you for catching that. Any other corrections or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of amending, or rather approving the minutes as amended, signify by saying aye.
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 All right, motion carried. Oh, any opposed? No abstentions. So the motion carries and the minutes are approved. All right. Consent calendar. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve the consent calendar for May 20th, 2026 in the amount of $1,017.19.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, the next item is budget distributions, services to the community, and that is going to be tabled. The Board of Finance has to act on it first, and they moved, oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. On the distributions, we want to wait until the budget hopefully will be approved, and then it would be appropriate to make the decisions on the budget distribution. So we're going to table that to the next meeting, and then we'll know the status of the budget, hopefully.
Yep.
The next item is acceptance of land on Mostowi Road. And again, that's going to be tabled. The Board of Finance has to act first, and they moved their meeting, so we have to wait for them to have their meeting tomorrow, and then hopefully they'll approve it, and then if they do, then we can act on the acceptance of the land. So that's going to be tabled as well. So then next our ex officio reports. Jason, I'll start with you.
I really don't have much to report. I went to Harbor Management and Shellfish Commission last night. And that was about it for my official capacities.
Okay. Candace, anything?
I do. Let's see. Youth and Family from last week actually had to be rescheduled just because they didn't have a quorum. Park and Rec, the East Lyme Little League was in attendance, which was great, and they reported that they have addressed the issues that were raised at the previous Park and Rec meeting.
Good.
Given the severity of concerns reported from our Park and Rec director, and dozens of the community members came out at that commission meeting. I applaud the volunteers who have stepped forward with their knowledge and experience to represent East Lyme Little League and lead with integrity and respect. So with that being said, the president has resigned and a new president has been voted upon, and some other changes actually happened within their board. Let's see, the National Little League. There was one thing that I did want to say just as a note for all, that the commission doesn't necessarily, we don't have governance, to my knowledge, over that commission. The governorship is the National Little League. So they have their own governance. They only have all their own things. So they took it upon themselves and took care of some of the issues that had brought, to light. I had sent in, because the last meeting Lincoln had come home from college, so I did take that night off, but I did send in the email detailing some of the concerns that Jerry had and asked them to be put into the meeting minutes. Not necessarily read, but just simply that they should be on record, okay? Let's see. The Board of Ed meeting last night. Viking Valor Award went to Esther. I don't know if you are aware. She has been a stellar mentor in the mentor-mentee program for East Lyme High School, East Lyme Public Schools, actually, for over 10 years, and has had the same mentee for that long. It was pretty impressive and wonderful, and you know how wonderful Esther is. So it was fantastic to see her get that. Yeah, it was really, really good. And then, of course, let's see, that's been over 10 years. Such a great night for all of them. A tremendous amount of children and students and athletes and coaches were recognized as well. Let's see, they're continuing discussions on possible reductions, and they've decided to wait until after the referendum to make any decisions. And that's all I have for that. I did want to bring up just something, because I'm not too sure if it's riding the ethical line or not. So Jason had come to the Park and Rec Commission. And, although not there as a board rep, because I'm there as the liaison, I actually had thought that maybe he was coming to apologize for calling some of our community members Marx Brothers, but he didn't. He acted, certainly as a community member, but again, reading a script of some kind, statement, and certainly he has his right to do that, as I do too, but I am concerned that, and I'm bringing it up for a reason, to see if that is something that we should be doing, because it's almost as though it could be perceived as trying to be oversight and or micromanagement, if that is a concern maybe for somebody else. I'm not too sure, but for me, I keep seeing this, and I just don't feel like it's okay. So the second time, again, reading from some script and statement, I watched the Board of Selectmen meeting online, and I listened, and most certainly we all have our opinions and statements and the things that we say, and we should have the autonomy to do that. However, I'm listening, and it almost sounded as though he was speaking not just for himself, but as the board. And I'm uncomfortable with that. And I want it on record that no one should singly be speaking for our board. And I really think that it's riding a line. So I want to put it out there. I did ask Jason to, again, put his statement into the meeting minutes, and I'm sure that they will do so. But some of the things that that he's doing, I'm just questioning. I just don't think that that is okay. And it might be perceived as, like I said, some sort of oversight or micromanagement, or even maybe an intimidating type of thought. I don't take it that way, but somebody could, So something to ponder, something to talk about, and like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Candace. Anything further? Did you want to respond?
I did want to respond.
Yeah, please. Jason would like to respond.
Thank you for bringing that up. I did have thoughts about it afterwards. As a member of the Board of Selectmen, you have a certain pulpit to speak from, a bully pulpit. And I felt like I wanted to go as a community member and speak as a community member, but as I was reading, I was like, I don't know if you can ever not be a member of the Board of Selectmen. I'm also kind of struggling with the idea of, do we waive our right to be able to speak at a public meeting as a community member because of the elected position? And it may just be that, yes, we have to forego that right so as not to create any conflict of interest or any perception of abuse of power or micromanagement. Attorney Collins is here, and maybe she could offer opinion, but I do think it is a line, what do you call it? It's not something we should engage in. It's something that I, after that meeting, decided I'm not going to try and do anymore, which is unfortunate, but, when you get elected, you have to kind of hold yourself to a higher standard, and I'm willing to do that for the sake of this board and all the other boards that are kind of trying to carry out the work of our little town here. So, Candace's thoughts were also my thoughts. So, thanks for bringing that up.
That's great. Well, it's good that we have that dialogue, and, that everyone feels free to express how they feel. Like Candace, you had a thought and a concern, and you raised it, and now Jason has addressed it.
I
And I think that's good. That's what we want. That's
there's
what
definitely
transparency
no
is about.
intention. Yeah, no intention on my end to try to stifle anyone, including myself.
Yep.
But we also have a line, and how it's being perceived, how it's being taken, and most importantly, the wording that's being used. I think also, because that can be taken almost in a salacious type of way, or like there was a cloud of impropriety or something. I wish I had the thing in front of me because it struck me, and I said to myself, geez, hold on a second. This what's being spoken to, this should not be happening, okay? And again, going back to creating policies around, navigating certain situations that, maybe have never come up, or, now that are coming up, that things are handled in a professional way, and the words that we say are very important. And, it could create to a false narrative. And that's not responsible. That's irresponsible. So I'll end with that, and I thank you.
Okay, thank you, Candace. All right, Tony, any explanation?
I went to the Planning Commission meeting, and the only thing out of the ordinary, I would say, other than routine stuff, was they once again, like at the last Planning Commission meeting, mentioned the aspirational goal of having an affordable housing plan, which, is laudable, but if it requires any money, it's probably something that's going to have to wait. But that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Tony. So my ex officio report, I attended the police commission meeting the other night, and right now, the police department is 170,000 under budget so far in the fiscal year, which is great. Chief Glenn has been working very hard on the communication, the radios for the police, and it works with the fire too, I believe. And we had these radios that were purchased 5 years ago or so, at almost over 400,000, and they are now working, and they are what they call cross-banded, so they can talk on the state system, and they can still talk on what they call the legacy system, our old communication system that we've been using for all these years. So they can go from either band, and they're much clearer. The police can stay in contact when they're off in some of the corners of East Lyme, and maybe be alone and need backup. Now those radios are working much better, and they can communicate with the other police officers. So really great progress with that. I'm very happy about that. The bicycle unit, they were getting some money from the opioid settlement, and they were going to be ordering 6 bikes, and they're going to be equipped, and they're ordering them, I think, this week, and they're going to have the equipment on board to satisfy the need for a bicycle unit. They will also carry the Narcan drug on those bikes. So if they're off somewhere where someone might be overdosing in a park somewhere where a police cruiser can't get there right away, it'll give greater accessibility for that. So it's very important. The police are going for what they call real-time 911 training. And what that does is it allows the police officers to actually hear when the 911 call comes into dispatch. What happens now is the dispatcher will interpret the call and then relay it and give the police officer, go to this address, there's this situation going on. But this allows the police officer to actually hear the feed through the 911. So let's say it's a domestic and you can hear in the background scuffling or someone screaming or something. They're going to have the benefit of that information when they arrive on the scene. So it makes it much safer for the police officer. And it gives them the opportunity to maybe order backup before they get to the scene. And so it gives them a better sense of what they're walking into. So they're going for that training, and it's a great advance. And then, if you're like me, you've noticed it seems to be a lot more police cars on the side of the road doing work. Traffic enforcement in 2024, there were 495 traffic stops in East Lyme. In 2025, there were 510. Year-to-date 2026, we're halfway through the year, there have been 1,365 traffic stops. So if you think you're seeing a lot more police cars on the side of the road doing work, they are. They're out there, and there's an omnipresence, and I think that's helping to calm down some of the speeding that we've gotten a lot of complaints about. So there, is a sense that the police are on the job and they're serving our community. So that's my ex officio report. There's no communications that I'm aware of.
There was an invite to the
Oh,
East Lyme High School graduation.
yes, thank you. Yep, the board is invited. That's June 18th, 2026. Got an RSVP by June 11th, and it's at 5:30, and it'll be at East Lyme High School. So that's the 18th at 5:30. Thank you, Jason, for reminding me of that. Public comment? Pretty light tonight, not a lot. So there's no selectmen's response. But I do have my first selectmen's report. Let me just say a few things, and then we're going to head off to executive session. Today I attended the rehearsal for the millstone plume exercise. That's where there's a release of radioactive cloud and all the steps need to be taken in that event. And we had that today at the Emergency Management Center, and it was very well organized. I think It was certainly worthwhile, and there was a synergy that developed between the different players, all the the fire service, the ambulance service, state of Connecticut was there, Ledgelight. So this is just a rehearsal, and the actual exercise will be on June 23rd. So it's always good to try to understand what problems might arise that you're not thinking of. The other thing is on the I-95 Route 161 project, there's going to be a milling and resurfacing operation. That'll be done in August. It'll be done 2 weeks before Labor Day. So if you recall, last year they had to mill down the surface of the road and build it back up. They did everything except underneath the bridge because they couldn't until the bridge was built. So now they're going to do that last section of resurfacing and milling, and then that'll be it for Route 161. That will be complete. They're also going to be completing the permanent commuter parking lot. That'll be paved and available for commuters, and that'll be done in about 4 to 6 weeks. And then the switchover on I-95. So right now, the lanes are going. You're in the opposite lane. They're going to switch the lanes to where everybody's supposed to be now that everything has been built up there and the bridge is functional. So that's going to be in about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. Let's see. And that should not interrupt, there'll be an interruption when they actually stop I-95 and switch everybody over, but that should just be, one morning of inconvenience, and then the traffic will be totally on the new bridge. And they're on target to complete it by 2026. And I would remind everyone that there is a Memorial Day Vigil on Sunday evening. That's May 24th, and then the Memorial Parade will be May 25, and that's kicking off at 2 p.m. And one last thing, I attended the 90th birthday party. There was a gathering for George Mitchell, who lives in town here, 90 years old. They had a little gathering the other morning at the Village Cafe, and interestingly, he was a military pilot. He was a helicopter pilot. He went to Top Gun school, and then after that, he switched over to fixed wing aircraft, and he was a pilot for Pan Am for all his working life. So a very interesting guy. So happy birthday, George, and thanks for you and what your family has done to help East Lyme. That's my report. I now would ask for a motion to enter executive session.
I move to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining agreements, Local 1303-436, Council 4, AFSCME, AFL, CIO dispatchers, Local 337, IAFF, AFL, CIO firefighters, as well as a strategy and preparation for potential claims.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to go into my office, and we will be in executive session.
Mr. First Selectman,
Pardon me?
you should invite the town attorney into the executive session
I'm sorry,
publicly.
I should have. And so can I amend the motion to invite the town attorney to executive session?
I'll amend my motion to invite Attorney Collins, town attorney, to join us.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, we'll go to my office.
So,
We're on the air. All right, we think, and I'm recording the tail end here so that in case everything else is failing, we'll have a record.
The board entered into executive session at, oh gosh, I don't know. Do we have minutes on that? How long was the?
What time did we enter into executive session?
We don't have a record of when the board entered
It's when I
executive
called-
session right
it's when
now.
I called
No,
Candace.
Candace, you called her at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, that was an hour and 28 minutes ago.
That was the beginning of the meeting.
So, shall we say an hour ago? At 7:30?
All right, why don't we just say 7:30?
Okay.
Yeah.
The board entered into executive session at 7:30 PM. The board returned at 8:30 PM, and no formal votes were taken. And we cannot access the screens in Town Hall because there is a certain password that you need that we don't have. However, it looks like we are recording and we are on air.
And I'm recording this on the phone as well, so we'll have a record. Okay,
Redundancy.
redundancy, there we go. So now, Do I hear a motion to authorize me to approve the dispatchers union contract?
So moved.
I move to authorize the first selectman to enter into the collective bargaining agreement as presented between the Town of East Lyme and Dispatchers Union Local 1303-436, Council 4, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029.
Now, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Okay, thank you, Tony. All right, so, any further discussion? We discussed it quite a bit. All right,
We discussed it in executive
in
session.
the executive
Yes,
session.
okay.
Yep. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? All right, the motion carries. Great. Do I hear another motion?
Move to authorize the first selectman to enter into the collective bargaining agreement as presented between the Town of East Lyme and the Firefighters Union Local 3377 IAFF AFL-CIO for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Tony, thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Again, we discussed this quite thoroughly in executive session. Any further comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn the May 20, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 8:33 p.m.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tony. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Candace, thank you.